Hey everyone, in today's video, I wanted to share with you my experience with learning German with Lingoda over the past 6 months and give you some tips in case you want to try them out that I wish I knew when I myself started on that platform. So I guess since you clicked on this video, this information is redundant, but just in case, Lingoda is a German online language school. They have classes in English, French, Spanish, German, and I believe Italian since recently. You purchase a subscription for a specific number of lessons each month, for example, 20 classes per month, and these appear as credits in your profile. But before you start booking your first class, there is a 20-minute placement test in your profile that will help you determine your level. I've actually been taking this test over and over again. I started at B1.1, then at the end of last year I was at B1.2, and at the beginning of this year I scored B1.3, and you cannot imagine how satisfying it is to see that progress. So each course on each of those levels consists of 12 chapters, with each chapter focusing on one specific topic. And every chapter for the topic comes with flashcards to help you learn about 40-50 vocabulary words specific to that topic/chapter. And the chapter is structured as 4 lessons, typically including reading, speaking, grammar, and one other type. I normally do 1 chapter per week plus an additional grammar class from a lower level because there's still a lot of practice that I need in terms of basic grammar. For your first month, I recommend getting a bigger subscription package that you can later downgrade, because I personally prefer to book classes well in advance, because then you can literally pick any hour of the day. I made it a reminder for myself in my to-do-list every first of the month to book the entire month ahead. So on March 1st, I will be booking out the entire April. If you try and book only a few days in advance, their platform won't give you the options of all the hours in the day. They will give you some options, some hours, but not all of them. And if you won't be able to use all the classes up, don't worry. The classes are valid for 12 months from the moment that they drop into your account, and they can be used as long as you have an active subscription of any size. You can use them for 12 months. By the way, you can also connect your Google Calendar, and your lessons will automatically appear there so that you won't forget them, especially if you're doing one of those sprints where you get 50% of your payment off in case you take all of the classes. In terms of class time, I experimented with 8 a.m. classes, and while they were great because I was fresh and the teachers were fresh, they really negatively impacted my work productivity. I'd finish like at 9 a.m., then take a small break to relax, and suddenly it would be almost 10 a.m. and I haven't even started working. So then I tried 4 to 5 p.m. classes, but I found that I was too tired to learn effectively, so now I settled on 3 p.m. to 4 p.m., which seems to be working well. My general advice for you is to try a schedule out for 2 to 3 weeks, evaluate how it goes, and then try something else if needed. But in any case, I find that taking classes at the same time every day really helps build a routine. I used to think that the big flexibility of Lingoda was that you were free to take classes in any order, but I've changed my mind about this. Now I strongly recommend working through the classes in the presented order because it makes vocabulary acquisition much easier, because you're basically spending 4 classes in a row working on the same topic, on the same vocabulary. Also, I would say make sure to download and read or even take the orientation class that comes at the beginning of each level. It might seem random, that's what I thought, and I actually read it through only after a month of studying, but it actually gave me a great explanation of the Lingoda mindset and method, which focuses on talking, and it provided a very good overview of the upcoming chapters and topics. Oh, and also through the orientation class, I personally realized, for instance, that speaking classes should always be taking last in the chapter because you sort of build up your vocabulary and then you use it. So yeah, don't skip those orientation classes, they're great. One unique aspect of Lingoda is that you get different teachers and classmates every time, and while this has its advantages, I do miss one aspect of having a regular teacher. As a people pleaser, I enjoyed wanting to impress and please them every class, showing that their teaching wasn't in vain, that I'm learning. So that was an extra motivation for me that is not available in Lingoda. The other potential drawback of this mixed teacher system is that on occasion you might get a teacher that you don't like. I actually write down every teacher's name and the class date and my impression of them on the very first slide. And I also maintain a separate list of teachers that I never want to take class with again. Unfortunately, Lingoda doesn't have like a built-in technical way to exclude them when booking. So if a teacher I don't prefer picks up my class, And this has actually only happened once, but then I immediately cancel and rebook. Also, since teachers can drop classes, I check my bookings at least weekly to ensure that no unwanted teacher has picked up a class, which hasn't happened to me yet. To put this in perspective, though, out of nearly 90 classes, I've disliked about 14 teachers. And there was even one extreme case where I left after 15 minutes because it was unbearable. I wish there was a permanent way to exclude certain teachers, but still I think this system is better than the traditional setup, because my husband, he took a in-person class and he was stuck with a teacher he didn't like for 2 whole months in a physical school. With Lingoda, I would never have to take more than probably 1 class with the teacher that I don't like. On the plus side, if I like a teacher, I can always click on their profile, see what other classes they have scheduled, and sign up for them. I have to say that teachers don't have a lot of pre-scheduled classes. I wish they scheduled more of them. That would be, I think, very helpful for people like me who like a particular teacher and want to take more classes with them. Okay, now a few words on how I organize the study process. Every Friday or Saturday, I download and rename all of the slides for the upcoming week and drop them into my Notability app. I've actually made a whole video about how I organize my notes in Notability. I've developed a system that all my classmates really loved, and then I shared it here on YouTube, and people who watched it on YouTube left great comments too. So if you use an iPad and an Apple Pencil, I definitely recommend you to check out that video. I also think I developed my ideal outside class practice routine, though to be honest, I'm still working on consistency. But generally, here are my ideal steps. On weekends, I try to learn the flashcards for the upcoming week's chapter, so 40 words or so, and keep learning them throughout the week. Then, at the minimum, I aim to review slides 15 minutes before class and translate all the vocabulary that I don't understand in them. I also prepare the words and key grammar notes before class and have them in front of me so I can apply them during class. Actually, the last slide of each presentation has all the words you need to know and the grammar summary, so you can just put this on a separate screen. Ideally, I also want to practice writing answers to the questions on the slides. It takes a ton of time, I have to say, but I really love this writing exercise, and I do it with ChatGPT. First, I compose an answer independently, then I fit it into ChatGPT and I ask it to correct my mistakes, and then also explain the grammar, actually. And then I rewrite the text correctly with grammar annotations from ChatGPT that it provided me. Finally, ideally, I would do the Lingo Bites, their practice exercises, every day, but I admit I slack on that too. I really want to develop a routine to do these 5 steps consistently, but I know habits form slowly, so I'm being patient as I'm working on them. Speaking of patience, though, I think I had an insight recently. For the longest time, I think I was stuck in my language learning journey because I wanted every step of the language learning process to be perfect. Like, if I was learning flashcards, I should know them perfectly and be able to use them. If I was learning grammar, I should just learn the whole topic and then know it and use it. And I would not be satisfied with remaining confused and making mistakes after my practice, it almost as if the effort didn't count. And so, of course, it was hard to stick to working on vocabulary and grammar if I felt on every occasion that I haven't achieved my goal. But these expectations were not realistic. I think just embracing the messiness that, yes, I've done a study practice and I still make a ton of mistakes is completely normal. And just embracing this messiness allowed me to move past this discomfort and keep taking the classes, trusting that eventually one day things will click and I will start speaking. And I think it is happening. So is Lingoda worth it? In my opinion, absolutely, especially if you get a larger package, because then you really pay very little per class. The quality of materials is really outstanding in my opinion. The slides are really interesting. I love the text, I love the topics and their explanations. They're constantly improving them too. They're adding new features for self-study, like the flashcards or these lingo bites that I find it really complementary to the slides. I really love it. I also love how international the Lingoda community is. I've had classmates from all over the world. I had teachers from all German-speaking countries. I have teachers and classmates based in South America, States, North Africa. And I really appreciate this so much because I personally miss the diversity of cultures here where I am in Central Europe. And also the variety of teaching styles is another plus for me. So different teachers teach in very different ways and stress and correct very different things in my German. And I feel like I'm getting richer feedback thanks to the variety of these teaching perspectives. And generally, this feeling of not knowing who the teacher will be, like, will you like their style? Will you click? Where they will be from? I think all of this definitely adds to my excitement and me looking forward to each class. There are, however, a few improvements I'd love to see on Lingoda in the future. First, I'd love if someone went through the Lingo Bytes and made sure that all the words are selectable on all pages for the translate function on the phone. Not just Lingo Bytes, actually, lesson summaries, some tests, Lingo Bytes, the vocabulary trainer. Sometimes I want to translate a word and just the way it is coded, programmed, the selection tool, text selection tool does not work. So I would need to retype it, which slows me down. Obviously, I'm not doing it. Then when opening my course page, I'd love it to scroll to the nearest upcoming class and not the last booked class because of how well in advance I book classes. It always jumps to a place in the course that is irrelevant for me right now and I need to scroll back up. Also, personally, I'd prefer seeing the actual dates of the book class instead of the scheduled icon on the My Classes page. And also it would be super helpful if when booking, we could filter classes based on type, like grammar, or maybe even grammar verbs, conjugation, declination, and stuff like this. Then it also would be great if when I click on a teacher, I would see all the classes they have scheduled, not for only for my current level, but for all the levels. Because right now the way it works that if you are a B1.2, for instance, you click on a teacher's profile, you will only see classes they have scheduled for B1.2. As I said, I take grammar classes from lower levels, so I end up going into my profile, switching my level to B1.1, checking the teacher's classes, switching it to A1, A2.1, A2.2, checking the teacher's classes, and so on, and that just takes time. Finally, there's a feature on Lingoda that allows you to pause your subscription for like holidays, which I think is great, but my understanding is that when you pause, all your future scheduled classes will be canceled. And again, that doesn't work for people like me who schedule classes in advance, month in advance. And I wish it could be implemented differently, like I could pause it for a period of time, and then if they need to cancel classes for that period, they could, but not outside my expected pause period. So yeah, that's everything about my experience with Lingoda. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions about learning German or studying with Lingoda. By the way, when you study with Lingoda, they give you a coupon to refer friends. You get 50 euros and I get 5 group classes. And if you'd like to try out Lingoda and don't mind using my coupon, I leave it down below. I hope you found this video helpful. Thank you for watching and good luck with your language learning journey. Bye!